the spirit of joining in, please do put your questions to them and join in. And we are going to be tackling some really interesting topics now, particularly Web3 and Metaverse. So it's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage David Karney, Head of Digital Assets at Worldline Global, and Shmuley Goldberg, SVP of Partnerships for Identic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Where should we sit? Sit here?
Just here.
Perfect.
Cool.
Right, how exciting.
Right, last session of the day, Ali Patterson, you had a really good session. I hope you will enjoy this one because I think it's the last one in a topic that is extremely interesting, Metaverse. And it comes with a whole lot of challenges, which we're going to be discussing in a minute.
Brilliant.
Let's start with the definition.
Definition. Well, actually, before we do a definition, should we just do a quick hands up? Who's been in the Metaverse? One, two, three. Okay. What about swift cycling? Anybody been swift cyclers in here? Anybody's got kids that play with Roblox or Minecraft? I see a few more there start popping up. So the definition is there. There's gaming out there. So the definition of the Metaverse as we see it, Worldline, which is a very large payments company, is around gaming and interaction within a 3D world, we would say. But it's actually been around for quite a long time in different versions. It has suddenly exploded, there's no question about it. And it's a bit of a buzzword to a degree, but we're seeing lots of brands wanting to engage with it. And we're looking at it as an R&D stage at the moment. It's not mainstream, but it's definitely getting there, and we're seeing different versions of it growing and forming as we go, basically.
That's very interesting. So how many people could give me a definition of the Metaverse, what their definition is in here? Well, I anticipated that no one would actually raise their hand, so I asked earlier, like some people in the conference. I got some like really cool one, I think.
Okay.
First one was, it is an alternative space, digital space,
Yep.
which looks like The Sims. Sims in real life. The second, which I really loved as well, is any digital alternative to a real-world environment. And this definition, actually, I really like because it makes me think of what is really the Metaverse for? Are we talking about a experience just for gaming, or are we talking about a experience that is augmenting what we already know of the real life? So going shopping, for example.
Yeah.
So tell me
I think you're
more
right.
yourself.
What we see today is mainly gaming, but actually there's lots of other examples, and I'll give you one. It was actually a couple of years ago we were involved in a very large construction company. I'm not going to say who it was because they could be embarrassed by this, but they make smart motorways in the UK, and they took 10 kids and Minecraft and asked the creators of Minecraft to tweak Minecraft so it only built smart motorways. It was about 180 different variables, so the tilt, the plumbing, the wiring, all the different bits that you need to build a motorway. And then took 10 of their leading architects and told them to build 60 miles of motorway. The architects basically laughed and said, well, they're kids, they won't have a clue. 3 hours later, the kids were finished. All right, and they said, we're fine, but it won't be any good. About 30% more efficient than when the architects finished. And it was a bit of a wake-up call, going, hang on a second, this is a completely different way of doing it. So that is a really real-world example. So nothing to do with gaming. And it's seen that technology. And when we were talking about the Metaverse, most of the time at the moment, we're talking about it 2D. So on your phone, on your computer. Who's got a VR headset here? Yeah? I've got one as well, a few more people. That's coming. The VR is okay, it's fully immersive, but what's really coming that's going to be a game changer is AR, so augmented reality. So the ability that put your glasses on. Now, people said, yeah, Google Glass came out, it was rubbish. That's tech, and I do deep innovation for large-scale tech. Quite often, people come out with new ideas, and it doesn't quite work. Doesn't mean it won't come back. And I said to this to I've got a 19-year-old who's a TikToker, so a fashion nut. And I said to her, would you be interested in the Metaverse? No, I'm not interested in the slightest. No, it's not for me. What if you put a pair of glasses on and see what you can wear? Ooh. And then could you send that to your mate? oh, and the next question was, can you pay for that? So, i.e., could it then pop up on my digital device, will you buy it, Dad? You know, so the e-commerce bit, and suddenly that was, yeah, that I do, she said to me, without a doubt. So what we're seeing is the gaming industry overlapping into the big world, you know, the world of brand, the world of e-commerce.
And I guess like a lot of like the kids now, I mean, maybe I am a kid, but we are going into a Nike store, into a Adidas store, who now also have like their environment in the metaverse.
Absolutely.
But we want to have that, like the Nike shoes in real life, as well as in anywhere where we can have a representation of ourselves. Right now, online has become that space where we can be whoever we want to be, represent ourselves the way that we want to be represented. And fashion, which is one of the big opportunity, I guess, for the metaverse, is that we can then buy into a Nike store the shoes that we want, and then we can also buy the NFT of that exact shoes, which we can wear then into whichever environment that we are going to.
We're calling it blended retail. So as a sort of, you know, we're number 4 in the world, 1 in Europe as a payment provider. So we're seeing brands come to us and say, how do we do that blended experience, especially after COVID? COVID shifted everything massively online. Now we're seeing it coming back in store. But actually, it's left this kind of opportunity to, you might go in store to try something on, the high chance is you then come out and you buy it online. And as you say, then you want to be able to showcase it to your mates and your avatar. And whatever that avatar might be, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's Decentraland, whether it's Sandbox, there's lots out there. Worldline have made a very clear play to say that we're going to be agnostic. We've built a big area in Decentraland, which is, you know, quite cool, but we're looking at it, you know, the technology that we're building must be in any of them. We did a payment provider, because one of the things that when you're talking about payments and e-commerce, it's all about not being interrupted. So when you're in the buying cycle, you want to make that purchase, you can engage with the brand very quickly, and in our world, verify yourself. You know, I've got a 12-year-old who plays Minecraft. My biggest concern, right, is about ID management within that, you know, knowing who somebody is. And it works both ways for the brand as well.
I guess this is like taking us to some of the big challenges within the metaverse. So one of the challenges that you have mentioned here is like, when you are making a payment, are you really the person behind that payment, which will be a massive headache for any payments company, any banks, but any retailers as well. But I want to take that concept of fraud into and payment into like a bigger scheme. I was just chatting with someone outside, and one of the big thing that they mention is, well, fraud of identity. Are you who you say you are?
Yeah.
So right now, if I speak to you, so you're David, it's great. I trust that you are the person you are.
Absolutely.
And I guess everyone in here today, when you are meeting a person at the conference, you look at the badge and you believe them to like who they are. But I've just been introduced at Shimley right now. Has any of you been questioned that for a second, that I was that person or not? Maybe the one who know me would have said, well, this is not Shimley. But otherwise, every one of you would have believed that I am. But I'm not. And this is the concept of trust that we have built within a face-to-face, in a face-to-face environment. Like, I will trust that you are the person that you say you are. In the metaverse, however, is a different, it could be a different stuff.
But it's a case of, we're in a digital world rather than a metaverse, I would say, that actually the verification in the digital world can be pretty good. You know, we've all got a phone. Right? So you've got a phone, you've got a PC, you're registered that device. You're registered within a game. Then it's about verification at point of sale, which is what we're seeing. So we've just done a pilot for Meta, which obviously isn't in mainstream yet, but is coming. But it's to do with when you're using a VR headset, doing like a keypad. So it's a keypad. You come out and you put your 4-digit number in it to verify that payment. Because what they don't want is you taking your headset off, pick your phone up to verify two-factor authentication to finalise a payment, because that interrupts the gaming experience or interrupts the immersive experience. We've done another one with voice recognition, which is quite cool. So again, it's your voice is incredibly unique. You have to record a little thing, you have to register for it. But once you register for it, it's a great way of verification. I mean, we all do facial. I mean, 5 years ago, it was, we were quite new. Now, anybody with mobile, you pull up, we've all been there, you just look at it, ding, and you wave your phone at something. That's because we've registered our details within that digital environment. And that's what we're trying to do to help retailers, giving them the tools to verify, and also to look at the risk factor, right? If we're just buying a credit for not very much, then maybe that could be quite low, so the experience can be quite quick. But actually, if you're buying something like a holiday, especially VR is a great example, where Cunard Shipping we're doing a little pilot with, the idea of buying a big holiday within there, using in a VR headset, actually that's got a massive opportunity and quite a big ticket price. So the verification needs to be pretty damn good. So I think the retailers need to look what you're buying.
From a payments perspective, I guess you're thinking about the interrupting the gaming experience, but in the metaverse environment, you have got a lot of people around you.
Yes.
So you not only making a payment to another to retailers, but you can be making a payment to another person.
You can.
Are you sure that person is as real as they are? So online now we've been extremely trained, and thank you, Shimley, for this. Online we are trained to know that to question any person that is asking us for payment. So, but I've got a stats here. Has anyone heard of Gilbert Shickley, by any chance? Have you heard of him? Well, this guy, he's been very creative, and I wish I had come up, although I wouldn't want to be a fraudster. But in 2015, he has scammed 80 million euro to very rich people by pretending to be the France defense minister. So he was using Zoom. He put a silicone mask of the Minister of Defense and was asking for money and telling people to protect your country, please send money to this bank account. These people, because they saw the face, they believed, and then they send the money. Now, in the metaverse, when the barriers are extremely blurred between online and the real world,
Yep.
How will we then being able to either protect that identity to make sure that the person that we are talking to is really the person that we are? Is this an education?
Yeah, it's an educational
or
piece.
is it
and
something
it's learning
that tech
as well.
can do?
I think it's learning as well. We've got to learn from our experience. Verified accounts, there's a reason why they're there. And we need to make sure, there are going to be fraudsters out there, to the end of time, there always will be. But big brands and payment providers like ourselves need to give the people the education, the brands, the tools to make the right decisions around when and how you can verify a transaction.
Where do you see the responsibility sitting?
I think it's actually us. I think it's the payment providers. I think they're the ones that at the forefront of this technology need to make sure we feel the brands are looking for us for guidance. We're seeing tier one brands come through our door and say, help, we don't quite know what our strategy is on the metaverse. Should we be doing it? Should we not be doing it? And we're saying, look, just dip your toe in the water. Don't risk too much. Don't bank on it too big, but be involved. And I think it's going to be a journey because we don't know what it's going to look like. 6-8 months ago, when Mr. Facebook Man was going, yeah, it's all about the metaverse, and then 6 months later, he's sacking half his workforce, it seems to have changed. Okay, we don't know what's coming, but we do know this technology has a massive benefit to brands in the retail space because it's that immersive journey. It's that, the difference, as I say, between VR, AR, XR, as we're calling it now, And that is, I think, brilliant. I mean, I thought we talked about it before, I mentioned before, Swift. Great platform. I'm a big indoor cyclist. About 3.5, 4 million users on it. Okay, it's been around for quite a while. It's an avatar. You're in there cycling away. The opportunity to sell to people in that environment is massive. You know, whether it's physical kit, whether it's holidays, but you want to be able to do it in a safe environment. And I think we're just going to have to go on a journey with people to find that out.
So now going into, we've talked about that, the metaverse, really in a centralized way. Because when we talk about the metaverse, you've got those two visions, right? You've got the proprietary metaverse, which is the like of like Roblox, Meta, and then you've got the decentral metaverses, where there is an argument for being a decentralized metaverse that comes with the rest. So the digital currencies, as well as the decentralized ID, which possibly could be solving that problem of like fraud. But where do you see the two different? Will there be like one taking over another? Will they be coexisting? How are you solving that?
It's a monster of a question, that. And my attitude around a personal point, maybe this isn't a work point, is when you talk about decentralization, it's got huge potential. You know, crypto and blockchain is my background, and there's some game-changing technologies coming through. But I'm a great believer in a trusted, safe pair of hands. I want to be looked after. And whether that's a central bank digital currency maybe being the interflow between these areas, whether it's understanding that the technology is changing. But decentralization is a very big opportunity, and especially when you talk about compute power. The big centralization PowerPoint is AWS, is Google, you know, Azure. So those are the big, you know, centralized areas is where the compute power comes from. They're, in some respects, the masters of it all. Is that changing? Because we've now all got a server in our pocket. You know, this thing here is a computer. And actually, when you do a full validating, constructing node on a mobile phone, which there are blockchains out there doing that, like there's Minima, there's Solana, there's a few of them that are doing it, which is super exciting. That will open doors up for massive change. But again, I go back to trusted. You need to be trusted. And a brand shouldn't just dive in headfirst. They're not going to go on the dark web. You won't see a global brand on the dark web, for example.
Do you feel, I hope no, do you feel that this is a generation thing? Because what I see is that there is a lot of young people that do not trust as much what we perhaps might say. We trust the global brand, we trust the banks, we trust the system. Maybe the younger generation do not. Someone made a really good point earlier, actually, Olivia. When people are doing checkout now, there's a lot of like checkout as guests, and this is something that I do quite a lot. I check out as a guest because I don't want anyone to have my email, to have any of my details. I want to have this digital sovereignty, and I want to keep that for myself. So in the future, will we see that like older generation really like taking over and actually going more into the decentralized and Web3 environment?
Potentially. I mean, there's a potential for it. And I think that, you know, it is a changing world. Liberty, my 19-year-old, she made a comment to me a while ago, oh, email. That's that thing you register with. And I looked at her and I was like, what? She was like, you know, the only thing she uses email for is to register. She doesn't even look at phone numbers now. So they are very, you know, they will make quick decisions. It's all speed. And if it's convenient, but hopefully technology will wrap safety around it. Because actually, if all she's got to do is look at something, verify against her face, and then actually my phone pings, it's over 50 quid, say, I've got to verify it. That puts 2 checks and balances in place, and let's make that purchase. So it's a very exciting time, this, but I think the metaverse is still on a journey, and you know, I'm looking forward to engaging with both end users and brands to see what comes out in the next few years.
Yeah, and I think there's like already like some amazing thing going on, like the Adidas. We see like Adidas the Nike, all the luxury brands.
Yeah,
really,
luxury brands are all over it.
creating
We've
all
got car
the-
companies approaching us now in a big way.
Snoop Dogg in
Yeah, Snoop Dogg and all
Decentraland
that.
as well.
But you know, NFTs, you know, part of Meta, part of the the Web3 generation. Is a picture of a digital monkey a good idea? Probably not. Is a certificate of a provenance of a Prada bag a good idea? Absolutely. We've just done a digital service book for Renault. Amazing, but it's 15% on the retail value of the car. So there are some really good technologies that often start and aware, especially when they're unregulated, in a kind of wild west. But then as big brands come on and engage with them, some more interesting user cases are coming out at the end.
Super. Takeaway for the audience today on the metaverse, and like what can they expect in the future?
Just wait for Google Glass and Apple Glass to arrive. That's what I would say. It will revolutionise our lives, but it also could upset our lives. Because if you think I'm going to go into a pub and see somebody opposite me streaming me live on TikTok, because I'm not realising it, I'm not having it. I mean, you can't stop them putting their phone in the top pocket and doing exactly the same. I'd like to point the fact out. But I think for me, that's going to be the big step change, when the way and ease of involving yourself becomes very, very simple and just the norm. So that's the one I would look out for.
Superb. I'm very excited for the metaverse, and I will end on my point with the pitch, because I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So my name is actually Amelie Arras. I'm the marketing director at Zumo, and we are a digital asset as a service platform for helping companies to go into Web3. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Brilliant. Well
Thank you so
done.
much.